The Bully Girl Magazine podcast is your dog-eared audio destination, bookmarking the most compelling tales and insights from the vast canine universe. While we passionately dive into the world of bully breeds, dispelling myths, offering training tips, and discussing breed standards, our scope isn't limited. We cast our net wide to encompass a diverse range of dog breeds, ensuring no tale is left untold. Enhanced by expert interviews and inspiring stories, this podcast is a beacon for responsible ownership and breed education. It's where bully breed enthusiasts meet the broader dog-loving community, fostering unity, understanding, and shared joy in every bark and wag. So whether you're out walking your dog or listening at home, be sure to enjoy the show and keep coming back. Hi, I'm Lisa Davis. So glad you're listening to the Bully Girl Magazine podcast. Joining us today is Rebecca Escobar from Frenchiverse in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Okay, first off, who is that cutie pie with you?
This is little Calypso, and she is actually going to be going to her new home in about a week and a half. She's a surprise for a husband. So I'm just soaking up all these little moments that I get with my babies before they go home.
Oh my gosh, she is so cute. And those colors are
Thank you.
amazing. For
Thank
people
you. I
listening,
love the Merle. It's my favorite.
yeah,
Say
I love the
hi.
Merle too. Oh my gosh. Okay, so for people who are listening, you got to go over to YouTube and just type in Bully Girl Magazine podcast because you need to see this beautiful, beautiful Merle. Oh my goodness. Now, for people who are in
She's
the
so
old
cute.
world, what does the Merle mean?
So the Merle is going to be a patterning. It's a spotted pattern, and there's a lot of different color tones that you can get. There's going to be like tricolors, and just you can create so many different patterns, and that's why I love this unique pattern because to me it's like a thumbprint. Everyone
Right.
is so unique. You get different eyes, you get different just shapes. Everything is so cool. But she is a little sweetheart. You're being shy. She's usually all bubbly.
Oh, she's
Camera
absolutely.
shy.
Oh my gosh. Okay, now I want a Frenchie. Is perfect. Now, the first questions that I ask people, there's two. Well, kind of three. Does your dog, and you can choose any of your dogs, Becca, do anything funny, different, unique? And then we'll move on to the next two.
Sure. I mean, we have a little bit of a zoo here. So we have 9 adult dogs, and they're not all breeding dogs. Some of them are just family pets. We started out rescuing, and then my
Oh,
husband wanted a French Bulldog, and here we are. But my favorite girl is Luna. She is another Merle French Bulldog that we have, and she's just a character. Like you'll just look at her and tell her something, and she'll just give you this like weird eye, like so stubborn. And then she'll book it back and forth. She likes to do like karate moves with us. We'll play with her. So she's just like an all around goofball. It was thundering yesterday, and she was outside like barking, yelling at the thunder. She's tough. She's a tough girl.
oh my gosh, I love that. Now, the next question is two parts. When did your love of dogs begin? And then when did your love of bully breeds begin?
My love of dogs began ever since I popped out and had my own life. Ever since I was born, I've always been raised around all sorts of animals: dogs, cats, birds, reptiles, horses. So I was like the animal girl. And so ever since, I breathed air, I've loved dogs.
Oh,
And
that's
then I
great.
started, yeah, I started loving the French Bulldog breed once my husband was like so adamant about getting a Frenchie. "Oh, I want one, I want one, I want one." And we had 2 rescue pugs, but I guess those flat faces weren't enough for him. He needed a French Bulldog, another flat face in the
Right. The
house.
more flat
And
faces, the
then
better.
exactly. I'm like, as if my husband doesn't snore enough, the pugs snore, but our Frenchies actually don't snore too bad, so it's okay. So then my partner actually that same week reached out to me when my husband was just pushing, and he's like, "Hey, I know that you like dogs. What do you think about starting a French Bulldog breeding business with me?" And I was like, "Oh man, it's kismet. Like this just had to have happened." Like, so it
Wow.
happened. My partner ended up getting our first French Bulldog, and she's actually on my logo. This is our first girl, Sky. And
Oh,
after that, we just more and more. I call Frenchies like potato chips. They're addicting. You can't just have one. That's my motto.
Oh my, okay, that is good to know. Now, I loved your blog post from September 21st, 2023, Rebecca Escobar's Frenchiverse. I love that name, by the way. Redefining
Thank
Bulldog breeding in
you.
Albuquerque from the BGM Warehouse.com site. And you had mentioned that you were originally thinking about breeding your husky. How hard was it to let go of that idea once the Frenchies came along?
It wasn't too hard. I had let go of that decision because she was already 4 years old.
Oh,
I was in like rental homes. My husband and I bought our first home together. So nothing was ever stable. And now that we have a stable home, that's where it kind of just rooted because we don't have kids yet. So we're like, oh, we want to try like having our own little babies to look after and care for. So that's where it began.
oh, that's so nice. Well, let's talk about the genetic testing because I know that you take such great care of your dogs at Frenchiverse.
So we health test all of our dogs. We usually use we like to use paw print for studs because they're definitely more extensive and thorough
Mm,
with everything that they go through on their testing. We also do animal genetics, so we health test even when we know our parents don't have any health issues or anything like that. We do a genetic test for all of our puppies, and we also do a full DNA test for all of our puppies because we want our families to have everything, even their DNA, even if they just want to be pet people. I think people get excited to learn what their dog is and things like that. We also do thorough vet exams. And ever since they're newborn babies, I started doing like ENS with them. My brother's a chiropractor, so he started teaching me
nice.
chiropractic for dogs. So I started implementing that at a young age because it's insane the difference doing those little things just to see their development and their strength and their growth and their progress. So we make sure that we cover all of our bounds. And every dog, whenever they go to a new home, I always explain that I'm still forever their guardian. So if ever there's anything that they have a question about, I'm always there. I get phone calls all day, every day from like larger things to smaller things. It doesn't matter. I reach out to my fur fam and I try to educate them on everything with this breed because they're a little bit more tricky than others.
Yeah, I want to get into that trickiness in a moment, but I want to go
Yeah.
back to something you brought up, which I was going to bring up as well. ENS stands for early neurological stimulation. Tell us more about that.
So it's really, and I actually added a couple of things to just the typical basics, but it's going to be teaching them, and it'll help with things like getting colds if you introduce them to a cold temperature and a warm temperature.
Hmm.
So you place like their paws on the cold and the hot. You're also going to hold them and slowly go down and up.
Oh,
So there's a couple of different things that's going to help with the neurological stimulation. I also do sound. So I'll see if they try to follow the sound where I'm snapping. And then I also do follow. So I'll have them try and follow my fingertip. And this is very good for the eyesight development. So I just do a couple of extra different things like that.
now is part of the trickiness because they're snub-nosed and that can lead to issues, or is it other things as well?
You know, I think our dogs have all had very nice open nairs and
Oh,
straight
good.
passageways. So we've not experienced any issues with just because they're flat, so long as the nair and the passageway is open and straight. Yeah, you breathe good, huh? You never
Oh,
snore.
those licks. Oh my gosh.
Cutie pie. But when they are nursing, so when you're whelping with the French Bulldog breed, it's definitely more difficult because you are going to, I constantly aspirate them. I have a cool little suction thing. It's basically a portable air tank and it just whine and sucks out all the boogers and the milk and things like that. So from an early age on, yeah, it can be an issue with these dogs is the aspiration. That's one of the number one leading causes of death with these pups is
Oh,
aspiration at a young age. So it's something that you do have to while you're whelping, really like monitor and watch over.
oh. So if they're nursing from their mom, and do they nurse like a certain amount of time and then you check them? Or is there like a system to it?
So I'm usually in this room with my babies like 24/7. The first 2 weeks, we get very comfortable with each other, don't we? Yes, we
Oh
know
my
each other very well.
gosh.
Yeah, so I do spend a lot of time with the babies in the room from very early on. I'm second mom. I never call myself mom.
Right.
I'm mama doula, and
Mm.
so we're in there. I do the first 2 weeks every 2 hours, and It's exhausting,
I bet.
but we like to make sure to watch over these babies fat and healthy from a young age. I actually start right away from day 3. I start doing beef liver and Pedialyte, and
Oh,
that's my little secret recipe for fading puppy. And it keeps them strong and developing and nice and fat. So you do have to do every 2 hours. You just watch them. If they start to have little milk bubbles coming out of their nose, it's perfectly normal. But I just take my little suctioner and kind of run it over. And then after, when they're done feeding, I'll always check their lungs and I'll listen for how their breathing is, if it's clear or if it's not. So um, I like to have that good, clear passageway. You never want it to sound like popcorn up in there.
oh, wow. And you do the same thing for that? If you hear that popcorn sound, you do the
Then you
suction?
should aspirate again. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. All right. Now, we talked about the different stimuli. You also talk about how your pups are hand raised. Talk to us about that. It
Yes.
sounds like a lot of holding and the thing you were talking about where you lift them up and down.
Yeah. So I think that it's very important, and it's time consuming. On top of my other full time businesses, this is a full time plus job. So this has to be, my life. And all of our puppies, I'm very proud to say, are hand raised by me. I did get a little helper now, so I get one night off a week sometimes. But they're all hand raised by me, meaning that I'm with them all the time and I'm watching for every little developmental progression that they're making sure that they're
Wow.
making all of their milestones and things like that. And I do love, if I'm not a big glove person. If I'm not sick, I don't wear gloves. I like the hand on contact. I always
Right.
wash my hands. I have a little hand sanitizer on the wall. I have a hand wash. So I always super clean hands, super cracked and dry. But
I
I
have
make
some
sure
great
that
stuff for that, by the way, which I can get you, but I'll mention
ooh, you'll have to send it my
it's called
way.
Skin
Yes.
and by One Earth
Yes.
Body Care. They're just great, great, great products and like amazing. So yeah, I'll get that
I'll
for you.
have to try that out. Thank
Yeah,
you.
sure.
Because I think it's important that they get touch. And I think touch is so valuable for young puppies. They want to
Yeah.
touch their mom, they want to touch you. The smells are good for them too. And
Mhm.
also, I'm a firm believer that small bacteria are good for puppies at a young age to
Right.
develop, immunities. Like we have a cat. So, if I have the scent of a cat on me, then chances are they're not going to be allergic to a cat when they go to their new home.
Yeah, that's a really great idea. Now you mentioned the liver. So that was beef liver, were you saying?
Yes, I
Okay.
I swear by it. It's one of the best things. I always do it as a preventative. Even if because you always want to prevent things before you have to go back and
Exactly.
correct things. So day 3, I boil some beef liver water, and you just use the water, and I mix it with some unflavored Pedialyte, and it's just like puppy Gatorade with protein.
Oh, that's nice. Now what do they
Yeah.
eat as they get bigger?
So as they get bigger, I always natural wean them. So I mean, these babies are still trying to nurse on mom outside because she'll just lay out, and they're like, obviously she has no milk, but it's
Oh
like a
yeah.
nurturing thing. And it depends when I start transitioning mush. Every litter is different. I start when they start developing teeth. So every litter is going to be different, but then I do, the dogs eat better than I do. They eat like
Yeah.
chicken and peas and carrots and like amazing. I have recipes on it if ever you need it. And then I
Oh,
transition
great.
them. Yeah, I have tons of recipes. I cook a lot for them. Not so much for myself. I've been slacking.
Oh.
But then we transition them either onto all raw, or
Oh,
then some
nice.
of the dogs get kibble. It just depends how they do. These ones have actually done great with just kibbles. We feed them Victors. I love it. It's okay to have for puppies and adults, but I am a huge advocate of raw diet. I'm a huge advocate of that. So I try to have our pups on a kibble just in case the
Mhm.
family is not capable of affording that recipe, because it does get expensive, and I made
Yeah.
my own to kind of cheapen it because it was costing us like $200 just to ship it. I like the Titan Red Raw,
Okay.
if you can, but since we're so far away from distribution, it just got crazy expensive. So I looked at the ingredients and I made my own raw food diet for them. So if you
That's
can
really smart.
feed raw, 100% recommend it. If not, I think Victor's kibble is actually a pretty good one.
Now, if you've already started your dogs on either kibble or cooked food, and everybody knows who listens, I give Blue squash and turkey. The funny thing today was I didn't have anything to eat, so I ate squash and turkey. And he's looking at me like,
There
Mom, wait a
you
second.
go.
And I looked at him, I'm like, I know there's not very much, but there'll be
Fine.
enough for you, and I'll make a bunch more tomorrow. And it wasn't bad. He put a little salt on it. Oh, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
But at any rate, how do you transition? Is it like a process?
So actually, the transition is pretty smooth, especially if you're going from kibble to raw. It takes
Okay.
about 2 days
Oh,
typically. So you want to do give them a fast of one meal, and then in the next meal you're going to do half and half, and then on the next day you're going to start giving them just all raw. And you might get one or two weird poops, but that's about it. Weird poops is my thing. I'm like, send me a picture. I'll tell you what it is right away.
I'm taking you up on that because Blue, even with this
Yes.
diet, his stomach's a lot better than it was. But yeah, he still has
Good.
some pretty weird poops at times.
Yeah, and I think, like humans, dogs sometimes need differences in their diet. So like sometimes, we'll add a little bit of jasmine rice to it just because they do need a little bit of fiber. Sometimes I love pumpkin. It's like
Mm.
chef's kiss, the best thing ever for dogs' digestion, just because it'll help either firm it up or it'll help kind of loosen it. It's just a natural remedy for everything.
Oh, that's really helpful. Now, do you cook the
Yeah.
pumpkin?
No, so we just get the canned
Oh,
pumpkin. I prefer
okay.
Libby's. I tried like the off brands, not so great. But
All
I
right.
like the Libby's, all natural, nothing added, just plain old pumpkin. Just put a little scoop of it in their food and it works wonders.
Now I got that jingle from the 70s. Libby's, Libby's, Libby's on your label, label, label. You will like it. Do you remember that? Well, you're too young, but on your table. I know now
I
everybody
heard
knows
it.
I'm old. As
I
soon as you
know
said
this.
Libby's, I pictured myself as a kid watching
Yo,
Brady
there it
Bunch or some
is.
other. Now, what about exercise?
We have a very big garden. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
It's my piercings. We actually have a very big yard, and so they run around in the backyard. Like we have
Oh,
our own dog park almost. So we're very fortunate
wow.
to have a big yard, and all the dogs play so good together.
Oh,
I I ever since I began raising little tiny puppies, I actually have stopped going to dog parks just
yes.
because they're so sensitive. I don't even though my dogs may have immunity to like parvo or December and things like that, they could still possibly bring it home to our little babies that don't yet have that immunity. So although I love dog parks, and just people how they take care of their dogs, sometimes you never really know what to
Yeah.
expect. So I'll take like my husky down by the river and we'll go for walks there, which is great for
Oh.
her. But otherwise, we'll just do little walks around the neighborhood. And that's actually how we found a lot of homes for our babies is some like our neighbors.
Oh,
Oh my god! So we go on little walks, and then I get to see like our pups growing up in neighborhoods, and it's really
oh,
special. Yeah,
that is special. I love
yeah.
the community that you have, like you're talking about with Frenchiverse. I love how you call your
Thank you.
clients your fur fam. It's so you're just so
Yeah.
welcoming.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I firmly believe that they become family. So my favorite part is even though people always ask, isn't it hard when a puppy like goes home? Don't you miss them? And it's like my favorite part is seeing the joy that our pups bring. Someone holding their new puppy and they're just
Mm.
crying because they're so happy. So they share those intimate moments with me. One of my favorite stories. I'll be brief.
Oh, no, no,
She couldn't
fine.
have. Sorry, I like to blab. She couldn't have kids anymore, and so she
Mm.
wanted like the next closest thing, and so she got one of our puppies, and the moment the puppy was in her arms, we're just sobbing and like we're hugging, and it's just beautiful moments like that make me wake up and do this every day. Those moments when there's hard days, it's like I look back at that, I get a little emotional because it's beautiful that people trust me with such an intimate part of their lives. Dogs are intimate, they're
Oh,
family.
yeah.
So I firmly believe that whenever you get a puppy or even just a service with us, you become a part of our family, a part of us.
Oh, I love that. And I forgot to ask the
Thank
name of the
you.
cutie pie on your lap.
This is Calypso.
Oh, that's a great name. Oh
Calypso.
my goodness.
She's going home very soon.
Oh,
Very
yeah, get all those
soon.
cuddles.
Oh yeah, you have to. And she is a cuddle bug.
Yeah, see, that's what I love. I have to ask, how do you handle all this with 9 dogs in total? That's a lot. That's a lot of
Patience.
work. Jeez Louise. That's okay. I was going to say, I get to start my day every day, and I only have 2 dogs. Blue, my kitty, likes to eat Benji, my lab's poop. So every day, and Blue likes to get up early. So I'm outside at 5:15 in the morning, 5:30, and I have to go out because Blue and I have this thing like we'll both watch Benji poop, and Blue will like look
Uh-huh.
over at me to see if I'm looking, and I'm like, no poop for Blue. That's
And
what
then
I
we'll
say.
go for it.
And I run over and I have to scoop, and I'm like, I do love these dogs, but it's 5:15, I can barely see, and I have to like figure out where the
Yup.
poop is so Blue
That's the
doesn't eat it.
thing. These Frenchies are notorious for doing that at a young
That's what
age.
I've
So
heard.
fun trick is pineapple, fresh cut up pineapple. I'm telling you, I got all the poop tricks.
Oh, good. Tell me.
So fresh pineapple is amazing. I guess something about by the time they process it, it tastes funky. If that doesn't work, it's my least favorite because it uses aversion therapy and it does make them sick after they eat it. But after about 2 times of eating it and getting sick, then they'll never touch a poop again. So I always start with pineapple. I like to do all natural first. I'm big on that. And then I would go to the other supplement.
Oh, so there's a supplement that you can
It is.
get.
It's called Potty Mouse.
That's really clever. I'm gonna try the
It
pineapple
is.
first because Benji doesn't have
Of course,
allergies,
of
so
course.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try that
And that's a
first.
good point. Always test. I always tell everyone with
Yeah.
any dog before you give them anything. Test a little bit, rub it in their mouth, and then see because you don't want them to have a whole serving of something and then just blow up like a blueberry.
Oh my God, you have such great information. All right, so I
Thanks.
now want one of these cuties, except everybody listens to the show. No, my husband has a 2 dog. We have 2 dogs. I go, honey, you gotta see this dog. Honey, how many dogs do we have? I know we have 2. That's it.
What?
I know
Just
we
tell them,
had
be like,
3.
Becca has 9.
I know, right? We had 3 at one time, and it was just for him, he loves dogs, and he grew up with dogs, and I
Yeah,
didn't. I wish I did. My mom was a great whole nother story. But I would love 12, like I'd love a whole house full of pit bulls. And he goes, could you
a
imagine the
whole
farts,
zoo.
hun? I love pitties, but come on, the gas. By the way, how is
Yes.
the gas before I ask my next question with the Frenchies?
It's actually not bad. Like I said, everything starts with diet.
Right.
So our dogs actually don't have. I mean, there's a day on occasion where it'll be like, wow, but otherwise, like gas isn't too bad. I always say that it starts with the stomach. So if they're having like
Yeah.
really unbearable gas, start with the food. It's always going to
Yeah,
be the food. It's always digestive.
that's true. It's funny because now that I think about it, Blue hardly farts anymore. It used to be constant when he was
There
on
you
like
go.
kibble. But now it's like,
So it's
so
a
it kind of
better
is
food.
shocking.
Yeah,
Like once in a while, we're
exactly.
like, we used to call them air poops because they were so bad. It's just so
Just dropped one out in the air.
Yeah, it was just absolutely horrible. All right, well,
Yeah.
now that I want one of your Frenchies, and I'll have to convince my husband, walk us through the process of purchasing one of your beauties from start to finish. What's involved?
So our process is we always want to meet the family first and the family meet the puppy. If you're out of state, we'll do FaceTime. If you're in state, we like to do a FaceTime actually before we even meet you in person because we want to make sure that our dogs and us are safe in this industry. It's becoming more and more a little bit worrisome to go meet
Mm,
strangers as it is just in general. But
sure.
we always do an interview first to see if you would be a good fit for one of our pups and our pups would be a good fit for you because this is a bond and we have turned people down before. But then after we go ahead and meet and like the puppy, whatever it is, then we'll go through and we'll start up the paperwork. We have the contract that protects the buyer and us. So we make sure that there's a health guarantee in there, and it gives tips also how I send everyone home with like a Frenchie aftercare booklet. So
Oh,
it's like 10 pages long. I'm very thorough with all the
I love
it's a
that.
10-page long booklet on how to take care of your French Bulldog, how to even prepare. So, I give tips on how to set up your yard if you have other dogs, bleach your yard, things like that. So, just different puppy aftercare booklet. So, we go over all your paperwork. And then we also offer financing. So, we do financing where you can do payment plans. And then otherwise, we accept cash or we can do other forms of payment. And then after that, then we get to get puppy home. I either deliver them to if it's out of state or we can meet somewhere. Usually I like to take someone out to a coffee or a beer or whatever they're into and just
Nice.
celebrate and go over everything. And then after that, puppy goes on home with their little booklet. We give you guys a fun little puppy package. So you have toys in there. We give you a shirt. I'm giving away secrets of what's in the present. But all kinds of goodies go in there. I always give a microchip so that your puppy goes home with a microchip. I give you food. I give you all kinds of stuff in your puppy package. And then after that, I always do a check-in the next day. I always ask, how did the first night go? How was everything?
Mm.
Oh, okay, they were a little bit nervous. I give you tips and things like that. So it doesn't end the moment the puppy leaves my hands. And then I check in, another week later. And people usually, most of the people that are in our fur fam, they'll send me pictures all day, every day. And I love it. So I get to see that puppy is well cared for. And I'm always there
Aw.
to help them if they have questions or anything like that at all.
Well, that's great. I have a question. Did you say
Yeah.
bleach your yard or did I don't know what that means.
I did say bleach the yard. So
Okay.
on anything that's like rocks or anything, because things like parvo and distemper, it can lie dormant in the ground for years.
Oh,
So I always recommend not like engorging it, but just like a little spray. You can use Odoban is one of my favorites. So Odoban is fantastic. There's also a brand called Striker, and so those are just highly um, strong chemicals to
you made the
no,
cutest.
we'll go play in just
Sorry to
a
interrupt.
minute.
It's just so heartwarming.
We'll go play in a minute. I promise. I
Yeah.
promise. It's such a lovely day out. So when it's
Yeah.
nice out, I'll let them be out for longer. But with these dogs, you don't want them to be out for too long in the hot, or any dog,
Right.
and out too long in the hot, out too long in the cold. But we have some lovely fall weather, so they're just like
I know.
mad that they're in the house. They're mad.
It's so nice. The other question I had about what you
Yeah.
said is when you said sometimes you refuse people, like you meet them, what is it? Like, does something tip you off that they're just don't seem like a great person or they're too busy or they have 12 kids and like, where's this dog going to fit in or whatever it is?
And it's on a circumstantial basis, so I wouldn't say that we have like any like ground rules,
Right.
but it's based on the individual. If I see that your home is amuck and you don't keep a clean home, and maybe you're the type of person that's going to keep the dog in a cage all
Oh,
day,
yeah.
those aren't the kind of people that we want our babies to go home with, because they're very special to us. So it is a circumstantial basis on things like that, but typically I pride myself and say that we are not the cheapest in town, but that's because of the quality of what we do
Oh,
and what
yeah.
we go into it, and typically that attracts the appropriate people to us that we want our dogs to go home to.
Yeah, no, I think that is super, super important. Now, do you show any of your dogs right now?
We do. We go to the dog shows. We love them. I think it's so fun because I'm big on community.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
love going out there, and just meeting a lot of people out there and getting to see other great dogs. And I think it's good to have that healthy, friendly competition, because then it gives you a taste of, wow, that's a beautiful dog. I would love for our program to start looking kind of like that, or things like that. And then just connecting with really cool people. But we do show our dogs. We've never been like big on it,
Yeah.
but we enjoy going to the dog shows. Our big thing is community.
Oh, I love that. Now, you share in the blog post that you dream of a future where only the most ethical breeders exist, and I am right there with you.
Yeah.
It's so
It's I
important.
I think it's important, and I went into this business actually with some hesitation. I'm going to be
Sure.
completely honest with
Oh,
you.
yeah,
Um, I I have always been a rescuer,
me too.
and so I told my partner, I want to do it responsibly and
Yeah.
differently. I want to change how people are breeding. If there's a puppy that's not perfect or cleft, like I want to save those puppies. I don't want to just throw them to the wayside. I want to redefine how people are breeding. I want it to be a lovable experience, not just treating dogs like a dollar sign. And I
Absolutely.
do see that more and more, where it is a business, yes, but the dogs come first in everything that you do.
Yeah, and
And
that's,
that's even why we don't breed our dogs sometimes. All the most we've ever done is four, and that's only if they're like fully perfectly healthy. but we've retired them after two, after one. Just always the health of the dog in mind first. The dog comes first.
Yeah, see, I love that. I know I'm a big rescue person
Thank you.
myself. And I mean,
Yeah.
I had someone today that I absolutely love, and I love their work with pit bulls and stuff. And I asked him to come on the show, and he was like, no, because you promote breeders. And I thought, well, we promote breeders like Rebecca Escobar, who's doing a fantastic job and cares for her dogs. We're not telling you to go to a pet store or a puppy mill,
Right. Right.
and people are going to get puppies. That's the reality. And so
Right.
let's provide them with the best people out there. Cause you're just blowing my socks off. You're just amazing.
Thank
So,
you. Thank
and
you.
everyone I've spoken to on the show, all the breeders have been incredible. And, again,
Right.
but from that rescue mindset,
Right.
it's tough. I mean, I adore my
Right.
dogs. And quite frankly, I don't really want a puppy at this point. I had a daughter who didn't sleep through the night till she was 6. So I'm like, I need to sleep.
Do I
I
want to
don't know how you
relive
do
that?
it. Even though my husband and I already have this not imaginative, this pit bull that we imagine, and we named him Ernie when he's this puppy someday. And I'm like, maybe. But now I'm thinking maybe a
Oh,
Frenchie from
maybe
Frenchiverse.
Frenchie.
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
I
that
think
family
that's
is
so
so lucky.
important.
Look at that
Oh,
cutie.
thank you.
Oh my God, such a
Oh,
licker. Oh my
oh, baby.
gosh. Well,
I
what
think that's how
I
your
know.
business thrives.
Oh, go ahead.
Is
Yeah.
so long as you put the dogs first in your mind,
Yeah.
um, that's how your business thrives because everything else will follow. So long as you care about what's most important, everything else just follows naturally and organically.
Oh, I bet. Well, what do you hope to see 10 years from now in the bully world, especially with breeders?
Oh man, I think there's just so much happening. So many people popping up, and I love and I appreciate that because it's exciting. People do love dogs and they want to do it. Um, I guess my hope is 10 years from now, it's only the ones that truly value the dogs first that are sticking around, and the health of the dogs comes first, and breeding only the healthiest dogs to create those things, not just doing it. Oh gosh, I feel uncomfortable. I'm like
No, no,
like
don't worry
puppy
about it.
mill
You don't.
style where you're just popping out
No, I
puppies to make
agree.
money. I hope to see a future where it's just the people that genuinely care about the quality of the dog, the health of the dogs, the quality of life that they receive after. um I hope to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Me too. Now, I know you have some other passions. Tell us about some of the things you love to do in New Mexico
Yes.
and beyond.
So when I'm not busy working, my partner and I do several different things. We do marketing is our main job. On top of the dogs is the main job.
Oh,
So
wow.
marketing is our main thing, and then we did Frenchiverse, and from that actually stemmed Kennel Boost, which is a marketing platform for dog breeders. So that's pretty cool. Check it out. It's on Instagram, Kennel
Oh,
Boost,
cool.
but that's just for dog breeders. So work keeps me busy, but I love what I do. But when it's not work related, I love to go on like nature explorations. Like I'm big on the mountains. My husband and I love to go snowboarding. We
Oh,
love to
fun.
hike, so we'll do that with friends. Being in New Mexico, we have a big craft beer scene, and I've actually worked at
Nice.
many doing like marketing and things for them. So I'm big on beer. I love me a beer. I work hard. I earn that beer.
Of
So I
course.
love doing active activities, going to the gym with my friends, and then also enjoying like a nice cold beer after a
Oh,
long day.
that sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. And
Where
what
did
do you
you
think
go?
about, oh, I'll let you grab that.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. And what do you think about Bully Girl magazine?
I love it. So I'm new to you, Lisa, and you guys actually found me before I even knew about you, and I'm so excited that you did because this has just been like a super exciting thing for me. I kind of got emotional when you guys first reached out because you wanted to interview me, and I was like, that's really sweet to get some recognition for what I do, my passion and my career. So I was really excited about that. And I'm just so humbled and grateful to be like here talking to you today. Get to gain a new friend in this
Yay.
community. That's what it's all about to me. Yay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're stuck with me now. Uh,
Yay. I'm on the
and
train.
yay, you're fabulous. Tell us
Oh,
all the
thank you.
ways that we can find you on socials and all that good
Yeah.
stuff.
So we have our main Instagram page, which is going to be Frenchiverse LLC. It's spelled a little funny. It's FRENCHIVERSE. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Can you see it? Okay. And then we have our backup pages too that can be found through there. So it'll be like Frenchiverse Becca, Frenchiverse Richard, whom is my partner. And then we have a couple others like our guardian home people that are part of our community too. That's another thing that I'm big on is having those guardian homes so that they live in their forever home forever.
Oh,
But you
nice.
can find us there. Our website is www.frenchiverse.com. On that website, you can find current studs that we have, current puppies. You can apply for the financing. You can find like tips and tricks and things like that. So we're on Facebook. We have two Frenchiverse pages. They're both spelled the same way. And then whenever you become a part of our family, we have a Facebook community. So in that
Oh,
community, I'll post tips. I'm always sending tips in there and tons of like videos and information. And then also same thing with like our stories on Instagram. And when you do become also a part of our Frenchiverse fam, we have a free online course that teaches you marketing with kennel booths as well as whelping and dog breeding and dogs in general, A through Z, on that course too.
oh, that is so great. You are just fabulous. You should come back just to talk
Thank
about all the
you.
other stuff. I mean, there's so much. I mean, I want to talk about the
I
holistic
feel like I could
aspect.
talk for hours to you.
Yeah, well, we will. At any rate, if you want to follow Bully Girl, go to @BullyGirlMeg on Instagram and I believe on TikTok. And go get the Bully Girl app so you can keep up with all these great people doing really cool stuff. So you can go to the Google App Store, you can go to Google Play, and go to www.bgm Warehouse. You can get my hat. We can't get my hat. You can get a hat like
Ooh.
this, sweatshirts and racer back, all kinds of great stuff. And then follow me so you can see my pit bull Blue and my lab Benji at Lisa Davis MPH on TikTok and Instagram. And everybody keep coming back to Bully Girl Magazine podcast. Thanks so much.